I agree with that. I definitely agree that we need to make sure that we're abiding by the system correctly and harmoniously, and that is very, very important. So um, I always am, always like the content and the conversations that me and you have about these different subjects. And I know that this might be, relatively enlightening because they've never had anyone be able to speak on this subject matter as in depth as you have. And I appreciate the fact that, you share from a you know, straightforward perspective. And, I really just want to make sure that, when we're having these conversations, that people really understand the importance of having these conversations. What do you say about maybe even sharing this information with young children or sharing this information with younger people that aren't necessarily an older generation perspective or person or something of that nature? What do you say about sharing this information with people that have a younger age and things of that nature?
I think that if you can follow Love and Hip Hop, if you can follow LeBron James, if you can pay attention to the stats of the Orioles, then you need to also know the law. You need to know finance. You need to know about the shit that affects you personally. Not one person. Let me really go there with you for a second. And I'm not trying to be condescending, but the old folks say. If you ask any of your peers, young or old, to go look up a book in the library, I guarantee you a dollar gets a donut they couldn't do it. You know why they couldn't do it? Because they don't know how to use a Dewey Decimal System. You can Google the shit out of something, but you cannot take that type of formula, which was taught to me as a child, but now it is being forsaken. And these same people who are taking light of this type of information, science, and opportunity are acting like this is a racial thing. The man this, the government that. No, it's you. At some point, you get up off your ass, you stop being complacent and apathetic, and you start writing the story of your life for what you want to represent. On your tombstone, it doesn't matter about the birth date and the deceased date. What matters is that dash in between those dates. It doesn't matter how much money you made. It matters what did you do and who did you serve? And did you do it properly? That's where we have lost sight of ourselves in this technological economy. While we point the finger, but we're still sitting on our ass watching Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah, that is the case. Yeah. So let's could you share a little bit more about yourself possibly? What are your study habits? What are your work habits? Do you engage in TV? Do you enjoy, what do you enjoy about life knowing that this is a commercial system and you educate people on the commercial aspects of it? What are your thoughts on it?
I love movies. I hate TV. Um, I'm a regular Joe just like everybody else. I just was chosen to be the conduit for this purpose and this cause. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18 years old. I've never failed in terms of a business that I own. Um, One of the things that I have an issue with so-called higher education is that if you go to school for business management or anything in that space, you've got somebody that's making $50,000 a year telling you how to read a book, but they've never written payroll. Something for you to think about. How can you tell me how to run a business and you never had to pay payroll? You don't know what it is to be responsible for people's lives. You don't know what it is when you don't make any money. But regardless of if you don't make any money, you know that you've got to keep your word to your staff and your employees. That
Right.
is a huge flaw with our system as well. And so anyone can read a book, anyone can write a book, but I have yet to see any application in education that has met with the experiences that I have had over my career, regardless of sector or type. You know, from dealing with different types of people to construction to architecture to raising capital when it ain't easy to raise capital, paying it back, to losing everything and getting it back. That is something that no one's being taught and no one's talking about. There is no picket fence and American dream. What it is that if you have the gumption and the courage to do what is necessary, then you just might have a shot at survival, and you just might have a shot at being that cream that rises to the top of that other 1% with everyone else. But if you settle for McDonald's, and I'm not saying that an honest living is wrong. What I'm saying is that no one told you to stop there. No one said that is what it's got to be, and that's that. So don't get mad at your mom and your daddy. Get mad at yourself. You will only obtain what you desire and what you work for. The UCC process is not about replacing currency. There are a lot of people that assume that. Oh, well, I'm a creditor now, so I don't have to work. Bullshit. It just makes what you're doing somewhat more attainable. But it doesn't mean that you are not responsible for being a man or being a woman and playing your part in this global economy.
Well, that's good to know. That's definitely good to know. Okay. Yeah, we actually had a couple issues here with the stream, but nevertheless, I still have the call recorded. So when people actually go back and listen to this in the archives, they'll be able to listen to it. So we actually have 32 minutes on the stream here, and so far it may be like 2 minutes off since we started at the top of the hour. So we're actually still doing pretty good here. But I enjoy this conversation with you and talking about the UCC, like I say, because it deals with the contracts. It deals with the way of living. It's a lifestyle, like you say, something that governs your life as a lifestyle. And, that's the way I look at it, is it's more of a lifestyle. And, I think people want it to be tangible. I think people want it to be real. And I think because, like you say, sometimes being in the public, people don't get that benefit of it being in the private and stuff of that nature. And, I think that's the most essential part, is getting it from a private perspective, understanding it from a private perspective. And a lot of people just don't get that. And, I would love for you to kind of, just share, like, if just any other highlight points that you think, someone that really doesn't know the knowledge from the perspective of they've never heard of it, or share from just clearing it up and saying, okay, if you want to get started in this process of governing your life from a contract, and living that life from the contractual, honoring contracts with your word and being accountable and things of that nature, I would love for you to share that perspective.
Well, let me give you hopefully a foundation to what you just said. America is the only place in the world where you have to be in debt to get debt, and you can't pay off debt with a debt instrument. Let's say that again. America is the only place in the world where you have to be in debt to get debt, and you can't pay debt off with a debt instrument. What does that mean? You can have an 800 credit score, but if you do not have a so-called history of a debt load of whatever amount of money, you can't go just buy a Ferrari. They still look at you as a risk. And if you are negligent in your finances, you cannot take the currency that's in your pocket, aka fiat money, and pay that debt off. That's why people can't get out of debt. They don't realize that it's not designed to work that way. The only way that you can so-called pay debt off is with real money, silver, gold, etc., or if it is discharged. But you can't discharge debt unless you are a legitimate creditor. They don't want you to know that either. So the bankruptcy, whether it is Chapter 7 or 13, all of those are debtor-based entities based upon the LLC version of yourself operating in commerce that basically defaulted in several contracts, and you're using one of these debtor codes to salvage your LLC. That's basically what that is and what's going on. Now, when you see these commercials where they say, debt consolidation and, one call, that's all, and all this other, again, bullshit, that should be illegal. And here's why. Because if I owe you $20,000 and I don't pay you, and you take me to court, how can you sell my paper, my toxic debt, my bad paper, as they say on Wall Street, to a third party? Then that third party comes to me and says, well, if you can't pay the 20, pay 10, and we'll get this off your record. How can you get it off my record when you're not the original one I had the contract with? This is the biggest scam of the American society today, and nobody catches it. You can only settle a debt with the entity that you signed the goddamn paperwork with. None of these people out here can quote unquote wipe off your debt. They can negotiate on your behalf to where you pay a certain amount of money per month. They can negotiate that instead of you owing $50,000, you owe $35,000. But in terms of this mysterious, magical unicorn Power Ranger effect, it is a sheer lie.
Right. I agree with that. So, okay. So people are trying to get rid of debt, but they don't know how to get rid of debt. And that's something that your firm educates them on to understand how to do so.
Much so. And let me also verify: we do not suggest or submit or support the idea of you trying to get out of the bills that you pay to live. I do not agree with that. That is beyond trifling. If you're using cable and Wi-Fi and internet, then damn it, you need to pay that monthly. Stop trying to get out of that. If you're using your phone, pay T-Mobile, Verizon, whatever the hell it is. But what we assist with is old debt such as student loans, mortgages, car notes, credit cards, unsecured credit cards. That's what we're talking about when we're speaking of discharging of debt.
Right. Well, I mean, I usually do the shows for about 40 minutes, and I appreciate you coming on and actually doing this interview with me. It's been a blessing. You've been a mentor to me in so many more ways than just the UCC, and I've always appreciated your mentorship and mindset as a man, and always been honorable in your words. And I just want people to enjoy that relationship too. For people to be able to partake, so we can be a tighter community as a people and as a group of I know it's hard because you say people and individuals and stuff like that, and you are the words that get you hemmed up, and so it's kind of funny. But I'm watching my words with you right now, but I definitely would want you to share, if you want to share your contact information so people can possibly get in contact with the firm and, really walk down this path of walking with a tighter, hand and integrity and with a tighter hand of integrity.
Well, thank you very much. You can catch us on Facebook at J&J and Associates Incorporated. Just put it in the search box and our verified business page will come up. You can also catch us by emailing us, which is preferred. J and the word and J associate, not plural but singular, INC at gmail.com. That way we can verify that we are getting real and legitimate interaction and requests. And we can also make sure that the person reaching out to us will know that we are going to respond post-haste and make sure that we get to them within 24 hours so that we can get on board and servicing their needs.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. JAND, J Associate, INC at gmail.com. Thank you all for tuning in live, listening in the archives. I know we had a couple issues here with the recording, but everything will be loaded up properly for you all. Make sure that you all get this quality content to you all. in a speedy manner after the episode is over. I just want to thank you all for tuning in live to a quality episode with my contract law mentor overall, just great man James Boyd. And thank you all for just making it a point to take the time out of your life to invest in your private education. Because just like you said, there has been up until this point, where certain subjects are not shared in the public for a particular reason, and it is a responsibility to share with our fellow men and women to come together and understand that it's important to empower yourself and study yourself. So thank you all so much. Is there anything you would like to leave us on, sir?
I'd like for everyone to make sure that you look up every time you get up. As long as the sun is up, you've got a chance. So no matter how dark it looks, just remember that the sun is up, and the sun shines on a dog's ass someday, and
Heard
twice on Sunday.
that. That's awesome. Thank you so much, James. I appreciate that.
Thank you all. Much love. Walk tight.
All right, hold on, hold on. All right, getting ready to stop the stream here. The stream should be stopping. The recording should be stopping. Give me a second here. I want to make sure we stop the recording.